Boy, do I have a doozy for you folks today. We have Emma Watson and Caitlin Moran having a little sit and chat, and can you even guess how incredibly fucked this is going to be? Well, shall we?
Okay, Jenny wants to know, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the feminist movement in 2016? For people who really want to do something, book clubbers, beyond reading, what are some of the concrete things you think they can do, direct action that can be taken to fight for change?
Let me stop you right there. You don't think this is going to become patently obvious throughout this video, you disgusting beast. And when I say disgusting beast, I mean both physically and mentally.
The biggest challenge is, again, it comes back down to tone.
Yeah.
Feminism has become such a big hot potato. You know, it's a hot newsworthy subject now in America, in the UK, and in parts of Europe in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago. You could not get arrested if you wanted to talk about feminism.
I think you meant to say 10 years ago you could get arrested for talking about feminism, you brain-dead turd on a stick hanging over a bonfire. But of course we all know that that is a blatant lie.
Many people have been put off feminism in the last couple of years because the tone gets so heated. We've had feminism wars.
You've had feminism wars. Yes, Caitlin, that's why people don't like feminism. That's why it's a heated topic, because your new religion of feminism is having its own version of the Crusades. Exempla gratia.
Yeah.
First of all, people will argue and fight all the time. That's absolutely fine. We can't go, oh, two women have disagreed with each other. It's a catfight. That proves women shouldn't be able to speak in public. Feminism is dead. It's like, allow women the weakness to be able to argue and fight like men would.
Yeah.
Nobody claims any such thing about women not being competent at speaking just because they disagree. In case you didn't realise, it was the feminist game journalists that declared a group was dead right as it became most vocal against the former's corruption in regard to feminists. And can everyone just take note of the brain-dead look on Emma Cuntson's face? Throughout the disgusting Troglodyte's rant, Emma has just been saying,
Yeah.
the whole time.
True equality is not being perfect immediately and being some superhero who has an amazing job and incredible hair and a pelvic floor and a tiny little stomach and two children who are perfectly well turned out. That's exhausting.
Yes, you swamp beast, perfection or as near as you can reasonably achieve is exhausting.
True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
No, I didn't perform some feat of editing magic to make that. That's the classic feminist stereotype being damn near perfectly personified by this disgusting swamp donkey from the deepest depths of Medusa's anus.
The more I've spoken about feminism, the more I have realized that fighting for women's rights has too often become synonymous with man-hating. If there is one thing I know for certain, it is that this has to stop.
And yet here you are agreeing with this thing like the brain-dead zombie that you are.
Yeah.
Twitter works in such a way that every time someone writes something that you're following, you can't not see it. It's short and it goes like a bullet into your brain.
Yeah.
Instead of simply ignoring these people because, as you said, it's impossible to because their thoughts are being physically forced into the special snowflakes' minds, they want a 1984 Orwellian level of censorship because their delicate little fifis can't handle criticism.
And it provokes a fight or flight response. And if someone's written something you disagree with, you flood with adrenaline, you're panicky, you're angry, and you respond in fear and anger, and suddenly an argument's happening with people who should be on the same side.
And that is why they need safe spaces, because they can't handle real life. Unfortunately, society has mostly shielded these people from natural selection. Without the protection of society and technology, these pathetic pond scum would have been killed a long time ago by a predator, whilst they cowered in a corner screaming, "Leave me alone, you bully!"
Yeah.
I've seen arguments break out between feminists who have the same life experiences, who want the same things to happen in society, who are disagreeing on the most tiny thing.
Yeah.
And I would say Twitter is making them do that. Social media is making them do that. If they could just sit down in the pub
Yeah.
have a couple of Bacardis and put some Guns N' Roses on the jukebox, this would all be sorted in 5 minutes flat. So but that's another reason why we need to get more women in tech, because I think if women were inventing social media platforms, they would be completely different to Twitter. It would be much easier to break out and have relaxed conversations and talk about things at length.
Yeah.
And, and be able to interject some humour into it and let people know what emotions you're having, rather than these shouty little statements.
Yeah.
It's everyone waving a placard at the same time.
Yeah.
There you have it. The reason women can't get along, even feminists that pretty much agree on exactly how they should imprison and execute men, aren't getting along because men. Women mostly aren't interested enough to get into the computing and technology, and that's all men's fault.
That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
So we've seen all the placards, we know what all the issues are now.
Yeah.
Now we need to move it somewhere where we have these conversations. And in terms of, so that's the bad stuff. The good news is that there are places where you can have these conversations. Like, one of the most hopeful things that's happened in this country in the last couple of years is the formation of the Women's Equality Party, because they have said, okay, let's form a party that is just about women's issues, and we're going to open source policy.
Yeah.
So they don't have an idea for what this party should be, other than let's find out what women want.
Yeah.
And they are now just consulting all up and down the country. You can go now and be a member of the Women's Equality Party, attend these meetings, and talk about the problems in your life and the things that you think would solve it.
This is what some women want. They want to get to sit around sipping their lattes whilst men pay for them to lounge around, because as many feminists espouse, women should be worshipped for existing.
And I don't see any other political party doing that and going, women, come and tell us, let's do this. A party is being built from the ground up now that is inclusive of everybody, that has stated it wants every kind of woman involved in that, whatever your class, whatever your age, whatever your ability, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your religion or your sexuality. Go there, talk about being a woman, and come up with some ideas.
Yeah.
I love a bit of direct action.
Yeah. No, direct action is super cool.
There's no political parties for men's rights, but of course women are so weak that they need special treatment. Isn't that right, feminists?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
If you do think that one of the things you want to do on Earth is make the world a better place, which is what being a feminist is, what being a decent person is, then you have to make sure that you are aware of what you are subconsciously thinking about anybody who speaks up.
Yeah.
Because I think we have this subconscious belief that someone can only speak up if they are perfect and have the answers to everything.
Yeah.
We are basically waiting for a feminist Jesus to come along who is going to write the feminist Bible that has everything in it, or has written the feminist TV show that has everything and everyone in it, or makes the film that tells the story of everyone.
Yeah.
There you have it. I call feminism religion, and I'll be making a video on that specifically, but the fact of the matter is, they're waiting for their version of their Lord and Saviour. In the words of Undoomed, can you fucking believe it?
I come from the point of view that, you are what you say you are.
Yeah.
Whether you're saying you're a man or a woman or a gay space alien, because I was brought up on David Bowie. I just believe what people tell me they feel they are.
Yeah.
One of the most radical things you can do is to actually believe women when they tell you about their experiences.
What's religion ultimately about? Listening and believing because of fee-fees.
But to trash everything that Germaine Greer did, first of all, misunderstands what you're standing on.
Yeah.
As a woman, to have the power to be able to, and the public platform and the vocabulary to speak out against Germaine Greer and call her a bad feminist, is to misunderstand that she has given you half those words and that platform and that ability to do that. We are all standing on the shoulders of our aunts. And particularly, it happens in sort of every sort of, political movement and movement for social change, but it's particularly noticeable these days because so much of our talk about these things happens on social media, that we don't bring our elders with us. We're not taking into account what other previous generations did, because they're not on social media.
Yeah.
They're not part of the conversation. We like to think, well, we've moved on from that. We just, these people are outdated, we're doing things a different way now. And you need to have your tribal elders.
Yeah.
What the disgusting Beastie is talking about is how Germaine Greer is a trans-hating feminist, and yet Beastie won't badmouth her for her flaws in Beastie's mind because she doesn't want to go criticising her preacher. Well, that's the end of this leech-infested corpse party. Don't forget to spread the logic if it so pleases you, and remember at least one thing.
My logic is undeniable.